Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Now, I just want to start by acknowledging you. Most women finishing cancer treatments are handed either a congratulations or a pamphlet and sent home. Nobody talks about what treatments actually strips from your body and why you are still exhausted months later, or what you can do about it today. This is Breastwise Unafraid for women navigating breast cancer who want honest, evidence-informed conversations that go beyond the treatment plan. I'm Katherine, cancer coach and 10-year breast cancer thriver, and I am living proof that you can move through this with confidence, calm, and hope. I'm so excited to bring on my special guest who is joining me today. Before we actually get started, I just want to take a moment to say thank you. Thank you for being here, for pressing play, for choosing to show up for yourself today. It is a very important acknowledgement that we often forget to do for ourselves. And so I'm here championing you in your corner. Whether you're in the middle of treatments or on the other side, or supporting someone you love, I just want to say thank you. This space is for you. I absolutely appreciate that you're spending time with me and my special guest today, so thank you. Now let's get into it. All right, so I just want to introduce my beautiful guest, Lee Tan. She's a pharmacist with over 3 decades of experience who made a bold pivot from conventional pharmacy into health, metabolic, and nutrition coaching. Lifestyle medicine is her secret sauce, and also additional training in nutrigenomics and environmental medicine. She's also a founder of Wellbeing in Dunedin, this beautiful space, and is an award-winning urban wellness center that brings together ancestral wisdom, modern science under one roof. So Lee's philosophy is simple. There are no shortcuts when it comes to health, and today she's here with me to give us some knowledge that most women going through cancer treatment never gets handed. Lee, welcome.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Thank you, Lee. Well, you and I met at the best place ever in a health conference. So I just want to really say, I'm super excited that we're having this conversation today and that we have something in common in our mission to help women. So before we get started, I mean, Lee, you have a phenomenal history, in pharmacy and lifestyle medicine. So tell me about your journey, please, in your own words, and what got you owning the spa.
Wow, we all know what we all went through nearly 6 years ago. So that was a really pivotal point for me. So during the pandemic, I was in charge of 2 pharmacies and we had to do the COVID vaccination response. So that was when I realized that as pharmacists, we actually had a lot of power. I could decide who gets the last or first dose. I could decide who to sell the last box of gloves to or the last hand sanitizer to. And it didn't sit well with me. I felt that that was really not in balance. So around the same time, I also have had some family health challenges. So I decided to step back to spend time with the family. So that was during that space that I had an opportunity to lean into health coaching. So I guess if health coaching didn't exist, I wouldn't have pivoted 180 degrees. Yeah.
What a
Yeah.
beautiful pivot, though.
It's been absolutely rewarding, but also challenging at the same time. But I see it as a journey, as in I just look back at what I've learned from those journeys, what I have learned from health coaching, especially the mental health coaching component, the acceptance commitment therapy, really helped me over the last 5 years.
Now you brought up acceptance commitment therapy. I love it. Which is your favorite metaphor?
My favorite, oh my gosh, there's so many, right? Once I saw on a YouTube video these ACT therapists, and they actually had a piece of paper in front of them. Well, let's say the client had a piece of paper in front of them. And then what they was trying to do is that this is your piece of paper, and on that piece of paper are all your problems and your challenges. You just, every day, you're just pushing against that piece of paper all the time. 24 hours a day, apart from when you're sleeping, you're pushing and struggling and you're just dwelling in that vortex.
Mm.
So then what they then did was that grab the piece of paper, you're still pushing it away, you're getting really tired, your arms are getting really tired, you're tired of struggling. And they said, why don't you pull that piece of paper and put that piece of paper, which is full of all your problems and challenges, and put that on your lap. So then it is a part of you, then you come to accept those challenges and problems. So I don't think they taught us that, but that was one thing that I had learned that I use consistently with my clients.
Super powerful. I love it. I
Yeah.
actually really resonate with that. And my favorite that I work with myself and my
Uh-huh.
clients is how we can actually choose to drop the rope. We can drop the rope and drop the struggle. Because sometimes I just get so tired of wrestling with the same thing over and over again. And I think a lot of us women who go through breast cancer have that struggle, and we sometimes just hang on to it for dear life because we're so worried. What if I choose to just drop the struggle, even just for half a day? So a lot of women that I work with, Lee, they are so exhausted in a way that sleep alone doesn't fix. And sometimes with the ACT metaphor that you just talked about, it's like, really seeing the problem from the observing self, like really separating ourselves. It's almost like we are on a plane or we're on the bridge and we're looking down onto the problem itself. How can we pull ourselves away? And so I see a lot of clients wrestling daily with a lot of the symptoms that treatments bring up.
Sure.
And I just have a lot of questions with regards to, just tapping to your wisdom, Lee, about supplements and how can they complement what they're doing. And because of your secret sauce with being a pharmacist, I love to hear your point on, what would be helpful and how can they sort of reach out into these supplements to help with energy and sleep.
Absolutely. So I guess, first of all, what's really important is actually knowing your body, as in when you feel stressed, where do you feel it in your body? When you're anxious, where do you feel it in your body? So quite often we're, the rushing woman syndrome, right? We're just rushing A to B, B to C, A to Z, whatever. And if we're not aware, then how can you change your response?
Mm.
If you're not aware of what your body's trying to tell you, how can you really look after yourself? So I guess one of my biggest thing when I coach my clients as well is actually to be really aware. And once you're aware, to catch yourself in that time and moment, especially with your thoughts, or if you are feeling really stressed out about a situation, and just say to yourself, I'm marinating my stress and it's going to cause more cellular damage to every single cell in my body. So then I have to change my response. So, yeah, so I guess that's kind of like a mental response. So physically, we all know we have to move well, we have to eat well, we have to sleep well.
Mm.
So physically, like as a coach, everyone, like I think Joe Public knows exactly what they are. So I guess our secret sauce, or my secret sauce, is actually to be really aware. Okay, so when you're really stressed out, do the physiological size.
Mm.
Sometimes, for example, yesterday I was driving back from Dunedin and I left at 7 in the morning and it was so foggy. Could not even see the big trucks or the cars or whatever. Straight away, I felt my hands went cold. My heart started pounding. My
Mm.
brain started going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, right? So then I caught myself in the moment and I did physiological sighs, which is
Mm.
so returning my body to homeostasis. Yeah. So, so that's what I did.
Mm.
So I guess your question is you want to know about what additional things we can do. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Alongside, there's never one thing that I feel is going to be it. I think sometimes allowing ourselves to just open up, oh, there could be the physiological side that I can use. There could also be, just sitting on my chair and grounding my feet, just for those moments. And then something else could really also amplify the outcome for us to regulate from, stressful moments that impacts our sleep. And that's where I find we are opening up the opportunity for us to just allow ourselves to just do one, two, or three things, but not all of the stuff all at once.
Yeah. So I always look at our body as physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual,
Mm,
right? So at any given moment, I always check in and say to myself, physically, where am I at? Okay, I'm a little bit tired today because I woke up at 5 a.m. or whatever. Then, but am I hungry? No, I'm not hungry. Am I tired? No, I'm not really tired. So physically, I'm fine. Then I think about mentally, am I sort of, worried about the fog, or am I worried about getting there on time? So as you said, using a torch and shining a torch on what I'm thinking about.
mm,
Then emotional will be, how am I feeling? Quite often we don't want to feel. We're too scared about what feeling will bring up. So then we keep pushing down those feelings. So I guess I always encourage clients to really lean into those feelings with no judgment. Just be really curious about why I was feeling anxious about the fog. I
mm,
even thought about pulling over to the roadside to wait for the fog to pass. But I was like, hang on a minute. Life is full of challenges. You don't know what's around the corner. If I have the tools to help me navigate the fog, then I'll be fine. So I was
yeah.
using all those tools, right? I was using physiological size. I was checking in with my mental state. I was checking
Mm,
in with my emotional state. And then I just, if you like, talk myself through those challenges. So
yeah.
supplements wise, I guess I always say everyone should be on at least, I think, three main supplements. Everyone should be on it. The first one will be magnesium. It's
Yeah.
involved
That's
with
my
like
favorite.
I know, everyone should be on it. It's involved in about, I think about 300 biological reactions in the body. So
Mm,
when we are stressed, we actually use up more magnesium. We actually excrete more magnesium. And when someone's exercising a lot, the muscles are using up more magnesium to do all the contractions. So magnesium's super important. Vitamin D, we're based down south of New Zealand. We're just not getting enough vitamin D. So
mm.
super important. Again, it's a hormone. There's an antioxidant as well. And then the third one will be omega-3, really, really crucial for reducing inflammation of the body. In our modern Western lifestyle, there's an imbalance of omega-3 and omega-6. We are eating too much omega-6s. So we need to
Yeah.
eat, yeah, we have to eat more omega-3 to rebalance everything.
There are
Yeah,
different types
absolutely.
of magnesium as well. Like, with the type of magnesium that sometimes a lady would walk into the pharmacy and then they get prescribed magnesium that actually helps with digestion. Don't get me wrong, it's one of the things that would be a good form to have, but there is always that confusion, right? What type of magnesium does
Yeah.
should I actually be taking?
So the one that is for digestion or constipation is often magnesium oxide. So, and often with that, you have to take it in quite high doses. So then it actually causes a effect to make your bowels loose. So if you think about it, if it is all coming out, your body's not going to be able to absorb it. So that's not that great for supplementation. So one form that we recommend a lot is the glycinate form.
Yes.
Biglycinate. I think there's only biglycinate, or sometimes you see it's just glycinate, which is, if you like, they've added glycine to it. So glycine is an amino acid, so which is super important as well for everything. Yeah. So yeah, either magnesium glycinate or magnesium chelate those are the two top bioavailable forms that your body can utilize.
This bioavailability is a big topic, isn't it, Lee? I mean, there is now recently some research that says, oh, there's magnesium, the liposomal version of magnesium as well. Isn't it fascinating what the research is now, generating in terms of supplementation? And I think I really
Absolutely.
love for you to debunk some myths about supplements, because there are some people out there that are hardcore. I'm against supplementation because, I want my body to be able to take nutrition from food, and I'm all about whole foods and getting our nutrition through there. But there are times when we just don't have enough in our body to sustain what we're requiring, as you've just sort of rightly mentioned, that we are losing magnesium as with stress and cortisol in our body over long periods of time. So, I mean, what's your stand? What's your take and advice on like supplements versus food, nutritionally?
Yeah. I think, again, modern day farming and all those other conditions that's outside our control, we're not really getting enough from our soils. So, even if I ate a big bunch of spinach or kale or whatever,
A lot of it, yeah.
I'm still unable to absorb all the magnesium because the plants themselves are not absorbing enough from the soil. They're talking about over farming, but that's not my expertise. So my feeling is that when you're busy, when you're stressed, how often do we actually sit down properly over, 3 times a day to eat and digest our food? Most of the times we're all rushing. We're eating food in front of the screens or the TVs and having
Standing up to
conversations.
eat.
Yeah, having stressful conversations. So essentially, we're not really absorbing our food 100% anyway. Yeah, so I do believe in, definitely focus on whole foods, but we definitely will need supplementation because we're just not getting enough from our food. Yeah, so I mean, I swear by magnesium every day, and so do you. Yeah.
I do. And fish oil, and it's really fascinating that you brought up the fact that we are all missing omegas that are essential for us, and we're taking too much omega-6. Which is present in so many other things that are cheaply produced. Tell us a little bit more, like in terms of the quality of fish oil. I would love to learn more, especially when fish oil is so fundamental for us to managing inflammation.
Yeah. So fish oil, it's has been clinically proven to do a lot of things, including reducing cholesterol and inflammation and things like that. But for it to really work, you need to take quite a high dose. And a lot of people really don't want to think, oh, I don't want to swallow, big capsules like that, 3 or 6 a day. So some people find it quite hard to supplement, as in to take high doses. I remember we used to sell fish oil, one big bottle for $9.99. That was before the pandemic, and I always kept thinking to myself, how good is that really? If something is so good for you, why is it so cheap? There's always a cost. But if you want a good quality fish oil, buy good quality, expensive fish oil that has been tested.
Mm.
Yeah. I think in New Zealand, there is no strict guidelines about the testing of fish oils, but some brands, they do go the extra mile to get their fish oils tested.
Wonderful insights there you've shared. So I've always been really fascinated about fish oil and the reliability of the quality, because obviously you're saying that there are some products out there that are selling for $9.99. So with testing, Lee, how are we able as consumers find out what are the reliability of some fish oil that's being sold in New Zealand?
Yeah, good question. So there has been a lot of media scrutiny, right, about fish oil and its pureness. So I kind of did a deep dive and I came across this article by Dr. Rhonda Patrick, and she's like really well known on the podcast space. And she talked about all the different criteria. And one that really stood out to me is TOTOX, which is total oxidant factors, if you like. I've got my checklist here. So what she's saying is that the toe tox, not she, but the guideline is talking about the toe tox has to be less than 10 for it to be as fresh and pure as possible. So yeah, so that was a really good guideline. But then how do you dig down into what is
Yeah.
available in New Zealand? And I've done that for you. So
Oh, amazing.
yeah, she did have a few lists, and I have access to some of the products that she talked about. So, for example, she talked about this Metagenics, Omegagenics, high strength EPA DHA, and this has a toe
Yeah.
tox of around 10. So, this is a practitioner's product. So, if you need, if you would like access to that, you have to talk to a practitioner. And I found an even better one. So this one, which is Natural Cuticles, Pure and Wild, and this is only toe tox 5 or less.
Wow,
Yeah,
cool.
so these
So
are
the lower the toe tox,
yeah, the better,
the better.
because it's just a total oxidant, meaning that there has been low oxidation, meaning that the fish oil hasn't, if you like, gone rancid. Yeah, so it is stable
Wow.
and it is pure.
Amazing. That's such a great way to sort of allow us consumers to identify, okay, what's good and what's not. I find it fascinating because sometimes when I walk into a store, I'm so overwhelmed with so much on the shelf. And I'm like, if most people are just in a hurry, like I am with young kids before, I'm just like, right, give me the fish oil that's the cheapest. But it's really good to get clarity that the cheapest does not mean that it's the purest and does not mean the most expensive would be the purest either. So toe tox would be a good guideline. And I love that my kids, because I've actually given them fish oil at such a young age. You would not believe it, Lee, but my kids love to chew the fish oil.
No
From
way. That's
yes.
amazing. Yeah. At one point I want to point out is that, so let's say you don't take fish oil. You don't have to be really motivated to get a pure fish oil. So taking a mid-quality fish oil is still better than taking no fish oil.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow.
So as long as you don't go for the one that's super, super, super cheap, because that means they use sort of inferior quality. So using or taking fish oil, some fish oil is better than no omega-3 or no fish oil.
I love it. You're really meeting people where they're at. And I like that about your advice because I think as long as we're actually receiving some levels of support, and if we are able to sort of have a fine line of in obviously the economy now is not the best and a lot of people are very cost conscious. So by telling ourselves, okay, if I can take good whole processed, unprocessed foods and I cook at home mostly, and then I can have an average sort of budget fish oil, that is still better than nothing. Fantastic.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. And I guess what would be, really exciting for me to really allude to is that we don't always need to have a perfect outcome or the perfect plan. What you're just sharing is, hey, you know what? Let's lean into what I need the most. And I think you really nicely summarized magnesium and fish oil being the top two, I'd
And
say, for
vitamin
women
D.
in terms of recovery and vitamin D. That's it. Yeah. And then if we can look into, sort of maybe, I think personally, I allocate budget for this on a monthly basis because I know for a fact that there is only so much fish and so much meat that I can take to try and get that high dose on a monthly basis. So thank you. Thank you, Lee, for all of your
Most welcome.
wise
Most welcome.
insights. So please let us know how do we find you? Tell us a little bit more about Well and Being.
Sure. So, Wellbeing is a business in Dunedin and I live in Queenstown, but you can access a virtual consultation or discovery call if you like with me. So just go to our website,
Nice.
wellandbeing.nz. And, if you want to know more about medications or nutrient depletion, just connect with me via our website.
Yeah, and I have to really vouch for the space you've created at Well and Being. It's such a beautiful space. I feel that I could spend all day there. You've got a sauna, you've got the float, you've got massage as well, and then also reformer Pilates. So people can actually spend pretty much 3 or 4 hours there easily.
Absolutely. Yeah, the whole purpose is actually to get people to, if you like, switch off and be immersed in the whole
Mm.
environment to regulate your nervous system. So when that happens, then our biological and physiological hormones and all that will change. So it's all about slowing down, hormones changing, and you feeling so much better about how you feel. Yeah.
Well, before I let you go, Lee, I'm going to invite you to share another nugget with us. A woman who has just been diagnosed, who's waking up in the middle of the night at about 3 a.m. and just lying in bed, feeling what she's feeling, what would be your one advice for her based on what we've chatted on?
Okay. Like we talked about self-compassion, one thing would
Yeah.
be just put a hand on the heart and just really reassure yourself and let your body know that you're safe. I think self-compassion is such a big way to talk to ourselves in a dialogue. Uh, yeah. And I can say really it's the inner dialogue to be
Mm.
supportive so that your body knows that it is safe.
Yeah. I like that you've just gestured with your hand on your heart, just telling ourselves, I'm okay. I think that is a really powerful tool that we forget because when we're in that hypervigilant, frazzled state, sometimes that touch can be really comforting for us as well. And we can so do it for ourselves. So thank you. Thank you so much, Lee, for your generous time, for connecting. I know no doubt that we'll have another conversation again down the road. But yay, this is awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Thank you, Lee. You have given me and our listeners so much more than what we expected. You have really allowed us to understand the mind-body connection deeply in a cellular level, speaking to ourselves in a way that we activate compassion, and also how we can use supplements to help us, but it isn't the only option for us to live well and be well in whatever journey that we're on right now. We are here to support each other, and I fully understand how isolating it can be going through breast cancer treatments. I've been there myself, and I just want you to know that we're here all as a community to support each other. And I hope that today's episode has been amazing, fulfilling. You've learned something and there's value. I know that Lee and I always have long conversations, and I just feel this is only the starting point for us to have more conversations. And I know that the next would be more of the East meets West and how we can use herbs more towards supporting women's well. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. This is Breastwise Unafraid. Thank you for tuning in today. I'm so glad you're here. This is exactly the kind of conversation I wish someone had handed me 10 years ago. If it resonated, the single best thing you can do is hit follow, so you get every episode as it drops. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, share it with them. That's how we change the experience of breast cancer for women. If you're ready to go a little deeper, there is a free resilient remission assessment on my website. It's a short reflective tool that helps you see where you are and what might need your attention. The link is in the show notes. Until next time, keep creating impact with ease. This is Breastwise Unafraid.